Cool. This is our camper van. It's a 2013 long wheelbase transporter with a pop roof, double bed, so on and so forth. But I'm going to show you around, show you how some of the features work, and then you can use this when you're out and about on how to work things on the van. Okay, so show you inside the cockpit first. Really nice and simple, drives just like a standard car. Lights here, 6-speed manual gearbox. You've got a head unit there which is Apple and Android compatible. You just pop open the glove box and plug in your phone there. So it's not Bluetoothed for the Apple Android, so you just need to make sure that it's plugged in, and then it connects up to the Apple and all that kind of stuff. So you've got your maps, you've got your Waze, all of that kind of thing for helping you get around. There's not much more to sort of show you in here until we get round on the other side. As we come down this side, you'll see underneath the window here, we've got a little outlet. This is a drain for the sink that's inside. So when you're parked up and whatnot, just pop that open and that'll allow the sink to drain off nice and easily. And then when you head off, just close it back up again. Come around the back, we've got a bike rack there that's suitable for 4 bikes. Can be a little bit like Jenga, getting them all on there sort of thing, but provide you with all the straps and all that kind of stuff that you need, so you can comfortably get 4 bikes on here, but sometimes it does take a little bit of playing around with. I'll show you how to get it down. It's attached just up on this top corner. Move these around and take them off and put them onto whichever one you need it to, depending on where you put the bikes. So you just share them around as you need. You attach on these, lock them down, and then use straps for the bikes on either side to attach them to the ones that are attached to the poles. Okay. And then when it's not in use, pull the tight strap, easy peasy. Tailgate on this one, so you can stand underneath this in the rain if you need a quick change. But in the back here you've got loads of storage. We can provide you with a box to put all your bedding in, etc, etc. Other than that, you can put your own boxes under there, keep all and store all of your stuff. We've got a rib bed. So we've got 3 seated seats with seat belts, so you can fit 3 adults in the back here. And then you've got this sort of pad at the back, and you can lift this up and move it down depending on what you're storing. If you reach to the left hand side, there's a handle, and you push it away from you, and you can set how you might want this back area to look, so you can put big tall stuff in there if you need to, no problem at all. Or you can have it down ready for when you're going to sleep. I'll show you how to make up the bed fully when we get inside. Just something to point out over here. If you have any problem with the electrics, there's a trip switch in there. So if your electrics pop or trip or anything like that, just check that first. You've also got a 12-volt electrical point there that you can use for plugging stuff in at the back of the van as well. Underneath here at the back, this is your electrical hookup point. So you just pull off the cap. And in there you've got a 3-pin plug. Just attach your electrical hookup to there, and then to the electric hookup wherever you're parked up. When you're not hooked up, just pop the cap back on. Okay, over on this side, remember I said about the glove box? In there, you've got your cable to attach your phone to. It'll charge and it'll make all the stereo work, etc., etc., for your Apple. Also on this side, if you lift up the cover on the seat, lift the seat at the front, tip it up, you'll find storage in there, and that's where you'll keep the electrical hookup. So you've either got a 3-pin hookup which goes into a regular 13 amp socket, or you've got your sort of your camping hookup. So again, dead simple, you've got about 20 meters of cabling in there to use. There's also a picnic blanket if you need it. It's a really handy storage area. When you're trying to squeeze things in, you can put loads of stuff in here and just squish it down. Filler cap, diesel, dead simple, but you need to make sure that the door's open to access it. With the door closed, you can't get it open. You'll see on the side of the vehicle where the door opens, you've got a rail, and this is for your awning. I've done a separate video on the awning, and I'll put that up as well so you can see how to connect everything up. But if you've got your own awning, or you've just got a sunshade that you want to use, it's this bottom rail here that you attach everything to. Ignore the top one, just use this bottom one. That's what you slide it into, okay? And you slide it from the back along to the front, and you've got a stop here. You can't push it beyond this point. Okay, so inside the van, I've put a little mat. What we tend to do is put this outside the van so you can just drop off all your shoes and all that kind of stuff. If you're using the awning, it'll go inside the awning. It's just a really handy space to be able to knock off your shoes, welly boots, anything like that, to stop you getting any sort of muck or anything else like that inside the van. So yeah, when you're driving around, stick it in here. When you pitch up, probably stick it outside the door to keep as much of the mud and rubbish from coming inside the van as possible. Inside here, we've got a little sink unit. Just lift up, holds in space, tap comes up, you can see the plug there, and to get the pump working for the water, you simply switch on the accessory and switch on the water pump, and that'll get the water running for you there. On the control panel, this is your master switch on your right hand side. You'll see the voltage come up that the leisure battery's got. So it's fully charged at the moment, so about 12 or 13 volts. When you plug it into your electric hookup, that'll go up to 14. Also, when you turn the engine on, that'll go up to 14 as well and show you that you're charging the leisure battery. The spotlight switch here controls the spotlight in the pop top, and we'll come on to that a little bit later. These two switches are dead switches. We haven't got anything connected up to those at the moment. And then this is the one for your water pump. Under here, you've got two USB sockets for charging, and here you've got a standard 12 volt plug-in. We use this for the fridge unit. Underneath, you've got a number of essentials. So you've got the water tank for the sink here. If you want to fill this up, undo the top, pull it out slightly. You don't need to take it out all the way because the pipes are in there connecting it up. And then use this water butt here to just top up the water, and then you can take this to and from your tap to top it up, and then when it's full, just lives back there. In here you'll find two camping stoves, one, two camping stoves. Again, just dead simple. We don't keep them obviously connected up when we're inside the van, but we tend to cook outside in the awning or underneath the rear back boot area, if you like. In here also keep dustpan and brush for just keeping inside clean and tidy. Cutlery is in there, all the essentials, knives, spoons, forks, can openers, scissors, etc, etc. You'll also see in here a couple of other bits of essentials. Got a little jet boil there, which I find really helpful. Boils up your water if you just want one cup of tea. Dead simple. Essential kettle. Tea bags, knife, spare gas, so on and so forth. You've then got 3 pans in there for cooking, a little frying pan and a couple of regular pots. And if you're using the awning, you've got some little fairy lights there that you can put around inside the awning to create some light out there. And that just plugs into the standard 12 volt. Okay, what else to show you up at this side? If you come inside on the right, over here behind the driver's seat is the controller for the diesel night heater. During the summer, you absolutely won't need to use it. You'll be plenty warm enough in here during the summer. But during the winter, if you're using it, it's set to 16 degrees, which is, again, plenty warm enough for you if you're sleeping in here. But you press the square button in the middle and that will turn it on for you. Press it again and that fires up the heater. You might just hear that kicking in. The heater is situated underneath the driver's seat. If you have a look down there, nothing that you need to do about it, and the warm air comes out of this vent here, and you can direct it around the van as you need to. Takes a little while to sort of get up and running, but then you can control the fan speed and the temperature with the arrows, and then to turn it off, simple, just press the button again. And that's all you need to worry about. I'm going to show you how to set up the bed for sleeping now. Obviously take off the cushions. First of all, you need to move these seats forward. So hand down the back so you can lift it easily. And on the right hand side, you'll find a handle here. Just lift up the handle and pull the seat forward. Drop the handle and set it into place. Again, you can set this exactly how you want it. To get this bit down, make sure all the headrests are down rather than up. Lift up this large beam here and then just drop it down. So there you've got a full king size bed. We've also got an additional mattress topper that you can take from us as well at a small charge. But yeah, it's a super comfy bed. Really spongy, and yeah, the topper just adds an extra little bit of luxury. But when you're in here, you might like your head up at this end, facing that way with the tailgate open, looking at the view. Really lovely way to start the day. Vice versa, you can have you can head up at that end, looking down this way in the van. But you can be in there with your nice cup of tea in the morning or cup of coffee, and you can set the height that you're sort of leaning up against. So yeah, a really lovely way to start your day. To get all this back, start with the middle section, lift it up, and it'll just lock into position. Lift up the handle on the right, and just before you drop it into space, lock it there, and then lift up your seatbelt points in the middle and drop it back. And that's how easy it is to do the bed, rocking it down and then rocking it back up. A couple of other things to show you in here before we move on to how to use the pop top. You've got a small table to the side of the kitchen unit. You just lift it up and it locks in position. It can't hold a small child standing on it, but it's pretty sturdy. To unlock it, just press the two catches underneath and it drops back down. Just here you'll see two 13 amp regular plugs, plus a couple more USB chargers. These sockets only work when you're attached up to the electrics with an EHU, electric hookup unit. So don't be surprised if you're not hooked up to any electrics and you plug your hairdryer in and it doesn't work. It's because you've got to be connected to the electrics, okay? What else can we show you in here? You've got 3 spotlights down either side and they just work with touch. Let's try that one. So just touch on, touch off. If you find it's not working, you can just pop them out and they can often come on. There you go. Don't be afraid, you can move it in and out. One more thing to show you. We've got a second table and then I'll show you how to move the front seats around actually. So under here, keep the main dining table. You want the leg down. There's a little button here, so just press that and the leg comes up, and then that hooks on to your main kitchen unit. So if you want to, you can move these seats into the bed position and get closer to the table, and that works quite well for us and our family. But other times we have it back here. We can use this as a table, and then with those front seats turned around, we can use this as a table as well. So you've got loads of different options to be able to eat in here if you're actually going to eat in here. To be honest, most of the time we actually eat in the awning or outside, but obviously sometimes the weather isn't that kind and we have to eat in here. Again, to take it down, just unclip it, push the button, put it down, store it under there. Okay, I'll now show you how to move the front seats around. So this is them in the driving position. So they're all locked in, really secure, absolutely normal for driving. But at the back here, you'll find 2 bolts that need unscrewing, and they're mirrored on the other side with another 2 bolts at the front. And these need to be unscrewed and you lift up that and put it into this position here. So you can see down like this, it's still wiggling around and the bolt's still in place, so it'll stop you moving it. Bring it up and just twist it like this so they stay up. And we'll do the same on the other side. So they're both in the lock position. I find it quite helpful to push the mat a little bit out of the way so it doesn't get in the way when you push the seat forward. So that's ready to move and twist around now. You come inside. I also find it quite helpful to move the armrest on the driver's seat into the upright position for when you're twisting it. Otherwise you'll go to twist it, it will get in the way and then you have to bring it back and move it up anyway. When it comes to moving it, you don't have to be particularly gentle. It does need a little bit of shifting. So you can get your foot into it and you can give it a good shunt. So don't be too tentative. Okay, so you've got it turned around, and to get it lined up, you can see where the bolt holes are. You just slide it into space there. Twist your bolt, drop it into position, tighten it up. And that's the seat now locked. So you can sit down and have everybody facing into one another. It's also really helpful to have the seat facing this way when you want to access the pop top, particularly when you're throwing your kids up there. They find it much easier to climb with the seats this way and get up there and use this for sort of clambering on than they do when the seats are the other way around. So we'll leave the seats in this position and I'll show you how we open and close the pop top. So you'll find just in this little cubby hole here, a little key, and this unlocks 2 bolts, one on this side and one on the opposite side, which clip the roof down. And it's really important before you set off anywhere that you've got these 2 hooks in position, otherwise you're going to be going down the motorway and the roof's going to be doing this. So make sure before you set off that you've locked it in position. You'll find a small hole underneath the sun visor. Pop your key up, give it a wiggle, and you'll find that it clicks into the right spot. There you go. And it's just a simple 180-degree turn. So that's unlocked now, that's locked. And you can't push it any further when you lock it. You can't push it any further when you unlock it. So really, really simple. So just a 180-degree turn. And we do exactly the same on the other side. So both sides are now unlocked. We're going to lift up a little bit just to get it off the catch. We're going to slide this back, and on either side you'll see that you've got 2 handles and 2 straps. They're usually tucked up nice and neatly, so just release them down on both sides, and then you want to let off all the slack. So just press down, one side, the other side. So they don't ever come off, but they just release the slack on them. So the next stage is really, really simple. You just push up on the roof, and it does all the hard work for you. Okay, so what you might want to do now is, if you've got small children up there, clearly there's a risk if you've got these straps in place. So now that they're undone, you can take them off if you want to. Just remember that these have to go back on before you set off anywhere. But you can take them off and just get them out of the way, or you can just tighten them up a little bit. Entirely up to you. I'm going to move out the way, and then you can see the full extent of the roof space up here. Next thing that you're going to want to do is, when your kids aren't up there, is you want to get a full height to be able to stand up in here. So you'll see here that there's a hinge on the roof. So if you place one hand here and one hand here, again, you can just lift up the whole of that, and you can stand in the van really, really comfortably, and just pull this down for sleeping at night and have it up the rest of the time when the kids aren't up there. Couple of features to show you up here are, you've got a small light. There you go, sorry, missed the switch. So you've got a small light for the kids, 2 different brightness settings, on and off. And there's also a USB charger in there as well, so if they've got their phones up there, they can be charging as well. One on this side and one on this side. So again, really, really helpful. The other thing that you can do up here is, obviously it can get quite warm. So you're going to want to be able to open up the vents to get a bit of fresh air through. Got a window at the front there. And then the other nice feature is there's a zip that goes all the way around the bottom here, and you can undo this and you can roll up the whole of this canopy, and the kids can sit up there and just have all the sort of fresh air and open to them sort of thing. Our kids absolutely love it with all of this rolled up and just playing up there, to be perfectly honest. The weight's 150 kilos up there, so that's, you know, 2 kids, 3 kids, 4 kids. Don't go crazy, but you can get them up there, and they love to use it as a den and to play and all of that kind of stuff, particularly when this is all opened up. So when you bring in the roof in, this strap here is just an elastic strap. It doesn't need to be on when they're up there. So you can have it sort of tucked down like that. But when you're packing everything away, you've got one at the front and you want that clipped in, and you've got one at the back. It can be easy to forget the one at the back because you've got to ask the kids to do it, because you've got to climb up there to get it all done. But it basically pulls in the sides when the roof come down, so it doesn't catch any of the fabric in the roof lining. Do up your windows, make sure your straps are on. You're going to need those once the roof's down. Make sure your elastic's done, and then you're ready to bring the roof down. Lower the roof, drops into place, and then you can either reach up for the handles or just use the straps. I tend to not pull it all the way down to begin with. I leave a little gap, and then I come out and check along the roof line to make sure it's all nicely tucked in. So here, it's not caught on anything then. I'll do the same on the other side. So that's the roof down. Everything's all in. If you remember these straps here that are on the handles, you can tuck the roof now away, and you can pull these in. Not really tight, leave a bit of slack on there. Take up the excess and pop it under there. Not too tight. Take all this excess, pop it under. And essentially what you're doing with these straps is, if you do forget to ever re-lock the roof, they just prevent the roof from flying off. So they just lock it into place really. So we've tidied it all up, and then this can slide across. It can often be a little bit of jiggering. And then that's it back into place. Get the key. That's that side locked. And you can double check by just making sure it doesn't lift up. And that's all locked into place as well. Pop that back in there. Last thing I'll show you how to do is to put the passenger seats back into place. So yeah, that's the seat back in position, and you're ready to go off then. One last thing to show you. In this big blue bag, if you open it up, you've got 3 window coverings here. They're thermal. and they work on the 2 windows at the front and the windscreen. You dampen the pad, and then just drop it into place, and that blacks out the inside of the van for you. Keeps the heat in the winter, reflects the heat out in the summer. So really, really super to use. The front windscreen one is a little bit more fiddly. Where the V is the top, and that will go either side of the rear view mirror. But it works in exactly the same way as the side windows one. Just dampen the pads. Slide it down to the front of the window. And then you can lock that in place by using the sun visor. And then that's you nicely sort of tucked in for the evening, and it creates a really good seal, no light gets in, and then do the same on that window as well. So I think I've shown you everything on the van now. Hopefully you have a lovely holiday in it. Enjoy, and any problems, just give us a call. Thanks.